Good morning and welcome to the Marking Rocket Fuel podcast show, episode number 5. My name is Michael.
Numero cinco.
That's right. My name is Michael. This is Drew. Drew, how are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Michael. Hold on to your coffee because we have got a great show today.
You hold on to your coffee. Yes, we do have a great show episode today, but before we get to that, how are things going in the life and world of Drew?
You know what? It's been an interesting couple of weeks here for us. We took my oldest off to college, and in an environment where I think he's going to thrive. He didn't move back. I had a friend of mine tell me they dropped their daughter off at college, and they stopped to eat on the way home. And by the time they got home, she had already moved back.
Oh my goodness! Yep, call those boomerang kids.
Yeah, so yeah, we're not doing that. He's thrilled to be there, and so we're excited for his future. He's got a bright future ahead.
Good. Yeah,
and of course, I've got my youngest in school too. So all the kids at home really make for a kind of a chaotic home office.
I think in our household, everybody's ready for school to start. I'll just leave it there. So it couldn't have come at a better time. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time or listening or watching this, wherever you're consuming this content, Drew, real quick, what and why, or why, who, and what, according to our show notes. Why are we doing this? Who is it for? And what are we trying to accomplish?
All right. So Marketing Rocket Fuel is, especially this season, is all about helping you understand the real costs involved with marketing your business. So we have made this show specifically for entrepreneurs, businesses that are growing to that next phase of their business. So, maybe they're trying to break into the $1 to $20 million mark from the six figures. And also for the marketing directors that work for those companies that are looking for better ways to do their marketing and maybe need to outsource some of their talent, some of their things to an agency, and aren't sure whether or not they should be paying this much, and so we want to reveal what those hidden costs are, to take the veil away, so to speak, so that you can kind of have a realistic idea on what marketing costs and what value it brings to you.
Fantastic. Yeah, we've talked about it before. The costs associated with running a business, there's obvious ones, but it's the ones that you don't expect that will hurt you the most, especially if those costs start to mount up and you're not prepared for them. So we've covered DIY, easy for me to say, websites, e-commerce, the hidden costs of those. This week, it's quite a bear we're trying to wrestle to the ground here, because it's something that tends to be real squishy in the digital marketing space. But it's the hidden cost of social media and social media marketing. You in our pregame and our prep for this, you dropped this fantastic statistic. I'm just going to read it and try not to butcher it, but it says, according to an analysis conducted by the Content Factory, the average organization spends between, wait for it, $200 and $350 per day on social media marketing.
Wait, back up and read that last part again.
That's if it sort of broke up through the microphone, it's $200 to $350 per day.
That's not month. That's not year. That's day.
That's per day on social media marketing. That's crazy, right? That works out to be between $6,000 and $10,000, almost $11,000 per month. and between $72 and $125,000 per year. So when you first saw that, Drew, what did you think?
You know, so many people say, but I thought social media was free. Because all a lot of people think about social media as the doom scrolling that you're doing on Instagram and Facebook and the sharing photos with your family and friends. And if you're a growing business, then you know that there's some things to social media that are business related, as far as like sharing your specials and things along that lines. But it's so much more than just posting a few posts. Social media is a massive tool for you to connect directly with your target market, for you to connect with people, to hear from those people, as well as send a message out to those people, to communicate everything about your brand, everything about your personality of your business, all of those pieces in there. But it takes a massive amount of work to do it right. And that's the key. Anybody can go snap a picture on your phone and put a couple of lines of text on there and post every day. That's not a problem. But what not everybody can do is take those images and words, that space that you've got to get people's attention, and actually get people's attention and get people engaging with your company, get people liking and following you, get people going from the I see your post on social media to I'm doing business with you. And that's really the key right there. And so all of that takes a lot of time and effort. And we'll go into why that takes a lot of time and effort here in just a little bit. But when I see that figure, it even shocks me as an agency owner.
Yep.
Because I know what we charge for our social media services, and I know what other people charge for their social media services. Not everybody, obviously, because most companies are pretty cagey about that.
Mm-hmm.
Most companies are like, yeah, we don't want to talk about what we charge. And sometimes it's because you never know what you're going to get into with
Right.
a company. You want to do something that's custom for that company.
Right.
But when I see those numbers and I put them into perspective, yeah, they make total sense, because it's such a massive amount of work these days, especially because video has become so important on social media.
Right.
And that's really the game changer that made everything infinitely more expensive to do. So, and we can get into that a little bit more later, but I think what we need to do is for people who are maybe wondering, okay, well, what's out there? What channel should I even be on? Let's kind of give a quick primer on social media here, so that because the biggest question that we get asked is, what channel should I be on?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
and sometimes people don't even call them channels. They're like, should I be on Facebook? Should I be on TikTok? Should I be on Snapchat? What should I be on? And the truth of the matter is, it depends. Depends on what type of business you are, who you're trying to reach. Just like a physical brick and mortar location, your business is dependent on location, location, location. Okay. If you have a pizza shop and you're out in the middle of a field someplace 9 miles from the nearest house, you're probably not going to get a lot of business. And at the same time, if you have an industrial business where all of your clients or all your customers are other industrial customers, you're probably not going to thrive on TikTok. Your customers are not looking for the latest dance craze or the latest sound bite that you put a video over. That's just not what they're looking for. And so you need to be smart about where your customers are, where their friends and family are, because those are influencers as well. And then we will talk about which platforms to be on. Now, the major platforms that we have, you have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Pinterest. Those are your biggest ones. And I can hear some people already going, what about Snapchat? What
Right.
about Snapchat? Snapchat is a different animal.
Right.
Snapchat is a tool for you to post quick things out and they disappear right away. It's
Right.
generally not great for business. Some businesses put out like flash sales and things like that on Snapchat, but for the most part, that's not generally where you're going to want to start as a business. That's something you're going to do when you've got everything else humming, and then you say, okay, I want to give this a try, because it's going to be a lot of trial and error on Snapchat. So, but those are your major platforms that most of your businesses are going to want to be on. And there may be some smaller ones that are maybe niche platforms. Maybe you're on Discord, or maybe you're on a Reddit thread or something like that. But again, we're talking about, where do you want to start on social media? Where do you want to grow initially? Once you get that all humming, then you can kind of come back and say, okay, let's try to get this moving. Um, then you got to figure out, how do you make stuff?
And that's a great question. Let me just jump in here real quick, and that just reminded me of something that was told to me, and it couldn't be any more true when it was said, which was probably when I first heard this. Um, it was probably 5, 7 years ago. But on social media, you're not competing um, for viewers just from your competition.
Right.
You're competing for the attention of your viewers, and you're competing with the NFL. You're competing with Kim Kardashian. You're competing with the latest TikTok trend. You're competing for eyeballs. And so you bring up this question of what channel should you be on. Well, number one, you want to set yourself up for success here. And
Mhm.
so this is picking the channel that you start off with, or channels that you start off with. That is you getting a chance to flex uh, the that you actually know where your audience is. Because if you don't, uh, and you start putting out social media or content that doesn't resonate with your target audience, it doesn't matter how highly produced it is. It doesn't matter how well it's done. It doesn't matter if it's funny or if it's educational. If you are at a place, and you just mentioned it with the pizza shop, if you're at a place to where your audience isn't, then that means you're growing an audience from scratch, and that's very, very difficult. So,
That's right.
let's segue over from what channel should I be on to um, getting stuff done. Producing content. Everybody has one of these. Everybody has, and if it's not this junky old phone, it's something that uh, you could actually produce a feature film with. Absolutely. And so some of the best cameras in the world are the ones that we have in our pockets. And it gives us some sense of maybe um, false production value with what we can accomplish. But
That's right.
Drew, what are your thoughts on creating content in house versus outsourcing it? Where does that line go? Because I'm certainly there's a place for doing this stuff yourself in house. So where
Right.
where do you
And
think that line is to where you get to the point, and then you got to get this off of your plate in the hands of somebody that just does content?
right. And when you're first starting out in business, really you should be snapping pictures, snapping videos, putting them up, and doing that every day. You should be doing that when you're starting a business. And you mentioned production value. That's where trying to get something heavily produced can actually backfire and
Yeah.
hurt you, because people want to see that you're real humans work at your business. Okay, whether you've got one person working there or 10. Whoa, man, it's a interesting morning. So we're coming into fall, folks. Allergies are going to come in. But okay, so when you're first starting, especially if you're a storefront, if you're a retail business or something, get on your phone, put it on a tripod. Don't just sit out there and try to hold it like that, because it's always going to be awkward. Get yourself a tripod. You can get some of this equipment for like, between 30 and $60 on Amazon. So it's not massive amounts of expenses for these things, but get yourself a tripod, hit the button and say, hey, here I am, here's what my business does, or here I am, hey, check out this new shirt we got this week, or this week we've got these pizzas on special, things like that. Do that, make it homegrown, develop a personality with it. As your business grows, and we work with a lot of industrial and manufacturing type businesses that even with those businesses early on, they may be starting with a small shop or something like that. Do something fun. Have fun with your social media. Develop a personality with your business. So many businesses think, oh, I need to straighten my tie and I need to be very proper. No, people don't like that. People want to see the authentic you. As your business grows, though, you're going to have to spend time running your business. Imagine that. You're going to have employees, facilities, things like that to manage. And at some point, you're going to say, okay, I need to be taking my hands off of this. I need to not be spending 5 hours a week doing my own social media, because it will take time to do that. You're not just going to shoot a video quickly and post it. You're going to shoot a video and then you're going to have to maybe do a little editing. Maybe you're going to have to shoot it 3 or 4 times to get it right. When you upload it, there's some tools in there to maybe adjust the colors. You're going to have to write a caption to it. You're going to have to choose hashtags. All of those things take time. So when you're posting a reel, for example, which is a short form video, it actually can take 30 minutes to an hour to post one reel. And that's if you're not doing any kind of video editing on it.
Right.
And so just knowing that's going to cost you time, then you're going to want to start outsourcing that. But how do I outsource things? Because an agency can't be at my business all the time to take these videos. That's a valid question. So what you're going to want to do is some sort of a combination. If you still need to shoot on the spot, in the moment videos, shoot those videos and share them with your agency via Google Photos or some other mechanism where you have a shared album, and say, okay, I'm just shooting videos, uploading them to this album, and that's my part in it. I'm done. The agency takes it from there and says, okay, we're going to edit these videos and we're going to post them and add captions, hashtags, all of these things with it. We're going to format them for the various platforms and make sure that they get out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of these places. So producing that content, that's kind of a hybrid. And then as you continue to grow, maybe you just don't have time to be shooting any of that content yourself. Well, then your agency needs to be out there on a regular basis with a videographer and a photographer shooting that. We were on a photo shoot the other day at one of our industrial clients. And at that time, you've got to shoot enough content to last for the full month. And you got to shoot it far enough in advance so that you can get that content edited. And it's a lot more work. You're going to be paying out more money for that. And so then you need to turn around and say, okay, what's my ROI on this? What's my return on the investment? Because if I'm going to pay a company to be producing all of this content, if I'm going to be paying that, $6,000 to $10,000 a month for my social media management, then I need to know that I'm making more than that back because of what we're doing. And that's the key there. It's easy to spend a lot of money, but you've got to know that you're making that money back.
Yep.
And social media is one of those things that sometimes it's hard to say, okay, well, where is the direct return coming from this, especially for the organic posting? But then you've got this massive tool in your arsenal that's called social media marketing. And that's where you're actually paying for the ads on social media. And that's where
Right.
a lot of your cost comes in. Um, a lot of your cost is not just in the content production and management, but it's in paying for the ads. Most companies will charge you a fee to produce content. They'll charge you a fee to manage your ad campaigns, and then you'll have to pay for the ad budget on top. And that can fluctuate. I mean, Facebook ads can be anywhere from $200 a month to $50,000 a month.
Right.
You know, it just depends on who you're trying to reach and how often you're trying to reach them, and how much return you're going to get on it. So, got to catch my breath here. I get really excited about this because I see there's so much potential for companies,
Yeah.
but most companies don't realize how much potential they have on their social media
Yeah.
channels.
Let me just chime in here. So from what I'm hearing from you and from our experience, both as agency owners, me in the past, you currently, is that people sorely underestimate the time it takes to do this,
That's
and
right.
that's really the biggest hidden cost. I mean, truly, to do this well, it's not just time in front of the camera. It's not just time behind the camera, the time to plan this. I mean, for goodness sake, Drew, you and I are going to be talking, and when this is produced, it'll probably be between 20 to 30 minutes. But in the pregame, in the lead up to this, and the post to this, that 30 minutes that people are seeing, there's probably 2 to 3 hours involved of your time, my time, and if we're in front of this camera or we're prepping for this, that means we can't do other things, and that's valuable, especially to a
Mm-hmm.
business owner. So, um, if you're trying to do this in house, if you're trying to do this by yourself, one thing that you can do is, and Drew, you brought this up with the photo shoot, is batch the content. I mean, if you're
Right.
going to be in front of the camera promoting one product a day, get all your products laid
Line
out
them up in a row.
and get 5 different shirts and do one product with one shirt on and then go change. I tell you, Drew, my life changed when I was an adult when I realized this, and I'm sort of embarrassed to admit it. But my life changed when I figured out that they don't film movies from the first scene to the last scene. They
What?
film. It's amazing, right? No, they film all the night scenes at night, all at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
that dude with his shirt off, they tell him when he's going to have his shirt off, and they film it then. And that's probably at the beginning of filming, so that he could go eat donuts the rest of the time the movie's being filmed. So just keep in mind that what people are seeing on stage or public facing, what is behind the scenes can look much different and needs to be streamlined and systematized. And that's one way you can keep your hidden costs down, is to have a
That's
system
right.
in place, leverage it, find out what works, and then once you figure that out, hand that system or hand that project to a production company or a marketing agency. Because another hidden cost that you're going to find out is, if you don't have that system and then a marketing agency has to create that system for you, then that, again, that's a hidden cost that no one thinks about, is creating a system or a process. Get that nailed down, and then you can go to an agency, or you can go to an agency and say, hey, we need a system, what's yours?
And
So
Michael, I can't tell you how many times I've watched companies try to do social media without a strategy,
hmm,
because a lot of companies don't realize the value in that planning the strategy up front, saying what are we doing with our company's social media, and what's our goal. I mean, you got to have a goal or you're never going to get anywhere. You can't
Right.
just post things willy-nilly. What are we trying to get out of our social media? And these are questions you should ask about almost anything you're doing in business. What
Right.
am I
But
trying to accomplish? And then how am I going to accomplish that? How am I, what's the tone of what we're doing here? What are we developing little characters here
mhm.
that we're playing? Around this area, we've got like a heating and air company that had these two guys sitting in the truck. One was the owner of the company, and one was this goofy guy, and they were always sitting in the truck in the middle of the night and just having these oddball conversations. And that resonated with the audience here in our local region. Um, you've got to strategize and figure out what is your message. What are you trying to say on social media, and how are you going to connect with people? And it's if you don't really know how to develop that strategy, by all means, hire an agency to help you with that. Even if you're executing it in house, hire the agency to do that, but also realize that these agencies, they're not coming over to your office for free.
Right.
They have families they need to eat too. They're not just saying, you know what, I think I'll go out and dispense free advice today. So um, they're there to make money. They're in business as well, just like you are. And so you need to realize that their services are valuable, even if all they do is give you that strategy up front and say, okay, here's how we recommend you do this, and give you a roadmap to execute that.
And a couple things before we wrap up and go to our action tip for the week. But I think this goes back to what you brought up, that the mentality for a lot of folks on the for their business social media is they take the same mentality as they do with their personal social media, which personal social media has no plan. And people leverage that sort of approach with their business social media. And then another thing is that you bring up the fact that you need to bring in an outside eye or outside perspective. And we just talked about this. Most business owners, including us, struggle with marketing their own business because it's like reading the beer bottle label from inside of the bottle. You're
Yeah.
too close to it. We become colorblind to business issues that somebody who is seeing the business with fresh, naive eyes, it's obvious to them. And so that's really the value that an outside agency can bring you when developing a social media marketing plan.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. Because as business owners, even if we're not trying to, we tend to go to what we like
yep,
and what we prefer, what we think is cool, instead of what our audience is going to think is cool.
absolutely. So, our action tip of the week is to
Action tip.
review your company's social media channels. And so, Drew, what are some of the things that they need to keep in mind when they're reviewing these channels?
So the first thing that you need to look at, I mean, and this is just the extreme basics. Okay, when's the last time you posted?
Right.
And and that seems like an obvious thing, but I can't tell you how many times we have come in and taken over a business's social media, and they hadn't posted anything for like 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, how often are you posting content on your social media? And then take it a little bit deeper. Okay, are all your graphics, is your branding, everything up to date on your social media channel? Is all your information on your social media channels up to date? You know, are your hours correct on your Facebook page? Is your address correct? You know, all of these, they seem like no-brainer things, but I can't tell you how many times we come into a company and those things just are not done.
Right.
Or maybe they're not even complete. And so how complete is that? And then finally, if you start getting some regular content out there, is it relevant content? Okay. Are you just posting about holidays? We got, Labor Day,
Yep.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, all this stuff.
Yep.
That's great to post those. But if all you're posting is those major national holidays, then you probably need some more content on
Yep.
there. And really, you should be posting something just about every day.
Yep.
A lot of companies will post multiple times a day, but if you're not posting anything, at least post once a week.
Right.
Post
Right.
something about your business that's relevant to your customers once a week. Um, and so just take a look at your social media channels. If you've got a channel that you can't, it's too much, you can't manage it, you're not going to be able to keep it up, shut it down.
Yep.
It's okay. If your Twitter feed has got 3 followers and nobody's paying attention to it and nobody's updating it, shut it down.
Right.
It's okay, because you need to be where your customers are, and you need to do something that you can do well. Execute something well and then add something to it. Don't try to do everything at once. Execute one thing, get it done right, and then expand it.
And here's a pro tip. And I think it's easy for us to say because we're on video, but really, if you can start with video, because guess what? If you have video, you have audio. If you
That's
have
right.
audio, you can transcribe that, and then you have text. And then if you have that, then you have all kinds of content that can make social media posts.
Mm-hmm.
So, if at all possible, start with video. And if you're not comfortable, and here before we close out, if you're not comfortable in front of a camera, too bad. The only way to get comfortable in front of a camera is to get in front of a camera. You just,
Well,
you just, there's no getting around. There's no shortcuts to that.
video on a good phone. Now, if your phone is 8 years old, for God's sake, get a new phone. I mean, if your business is doing that poorly that your phone is 8 years old and you can't get a new phone, you need to reevaluate a lot more things.
Right.
Okay. Get a new phone. And some people are like, well, I don't want to figure out all that stuff. Do you want to grow your business?
Right.
That's what it comes down to. It's
Yep.
not a matter of, I don't want to figure out this new phone. It's a matter of, do you want to grow your business?
Right.
And then going back to what you just said, I'm not comfortable on camera. Most business owners are the best people at
Yep.
explaining what they do. And most of the time, don't try to script it out or anything like that. Have a couple of bullet points. Most of the time, if you sit down at a conference table with a business owner and they're explaining to you what their business is, it's great conversation. It's great stuff. And you get their passion, you get their energy, you get the things that they care about the most. Well, hit record.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then the other basics, and this is valid here in 2022 when they're filming it. It may change next year. So just throwing
Ab-
that out there. When you're filming video, and we keep going back to video, and our next episode is going to be all about short form video. Okay, so be sure and tune into that. But when you're filming video, I'm going to give you this one tip. Hold your phone in portrait mode like this. Don't hold it like this anymore. This used to be the standard.
right.
I mean, if you watch old America's Funniest Home Videos episodes, they're always telling you, hold your phone like this, huh? But
Right.
hold it like this.
Yes.
Portrait mode is the standard now because that's how everybody's looking at video on social media now.
Absolutely.
So, okay, that's your one tip for shooting video. Let's get ready to wrap this thing up here.
Well, you jumped the gun. We already covered what we're going to do next time. Thank you for that. So close us out with telling us a little bit about EPM, and then what you want people to do if they haven't done it already.
All right. So this video is sponsored by Escape Plan Marketing. They provide marketing rocket fuel for small to mid-sized companies, generally companies shooting for between $1 and $20 million in sales. If you are looking to grow and scale your business up to that next level, go on escapeplanmarketing.com, fill out the little form, set up a discovery call, and you will get our free marketing audit checklist, absolutely free. And you'll get 30 minutes with me to talk about how to grow your business. So go to escapeplanmarketing.com for that. And of course, what do we do if we're watching this video for the first time, Michael?
You need to like, comment, subscribe on all the socials. It helps with the algorithm. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yes.
But Drew, it's great seeing you. It's always a good time when I get to talk marketing with you. And we will see you next time. We'll see you, brother. Bye.
Peace and long life.